Tina Cooks is made possible through the generous support of E.T. Cody & Sons Auto Parts, Leominster, Papa John's Pizza, Leominster and Fitchburg, Boucher Construction, Central Mass Sand and Gravel. Hi, welcome to Tina Cooks. Today we're going to be doing a beef saute. I'm going to be using mushrooms and broccoli. This is a bowl of nice hot water. I just dumped some frozen broccoli in there. Use the broccoli florets because if you get the chopped broccoli, you just get stems. And we're going to do some prep. I have here sirloin tips. They're good for beef stew. They're good for sautés. I like to even just in the summertime barbecue them right on the grill. They're delicious. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut them into pieces because I don't want this too small. You want it bite size. Boy, these are shredded thin. What did they do? Save that to put it on a skewer. Okay. Now with this, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to stop 2 seconds and I'm going to put on my water for my rice. Now what I have here is I have 3 cups of salted water and I have 1.5 cups of just long grain rice. I'm going to keep the rice just white because I want to be able to use my vegetables and I don't want to have a fried rice or a seasoned rice. I want it plain because I'm going to make a nice sauce with the beef. What I like to do, maybe I'll just put in 1 more piece. Might as well have enough. That'll still be a good amount for a minestrone. All right, that's good. Okay, now what I like to do with my beef is I'm gonna reach under here and grab my flour. And I'm gonna flour this a little bit. And I'm gonna season it a little bit with some salt and some pepper, and of course I'm supposed to be prepared but I'm not. Granulated garlic. You like the way these work? I got all my storage in here. Isn't that nice? See, Carl, by forgetting stuff I can show them how my surround works. Okay, and then we're going to put a little bit of granulated garlic in here, and then we're going to just mushy this all over. That way we have our seasoning, we have a little bit of flour to brown it with. It'll help us thicken our sauce up. It's going to work out great. Okay, and this I'm going to put here. Isn't that pretty? Okay. Now naturally I'm just going to scrape this off. Doesn't matter if a little flour gets into the mushrooms. Okay. Now these mushrooms are fairly clean, but what I do is I just wipe them off. I'm not going to do too many because there's not that much meat there. You can always use mushrooms, stuffed mushrooms. I like to put them in with eggplant and raviolis. Oh, they're delicious like that. I like them in stuffing. Okay. we're gonna slice these. Try to get away from me. And we'll put these over here. And we're gonna take an onion. Whoop! Be careful. You don't want to cut yourself. I didn't cut myself, thank God. And we're gonna slice these. I like to try to keep everything, if you're gonna slice something, slice everything. If you're gonna put everything into little bite-sized pieces, make everything into bite-sized pieces so that it's uniform. That's a thing with me. I have to have it all uniform. The meat, I'm not gonna slice in slices, but the vegetables will be sliced. Okay, and we're gonna take this and put this over here. Then I'm gonna take some garlic. I can hear my water's just about ready to boil. And we're gonna go like that. And peel this. If it'll let me peel it. Boy, what a tough garlic this is. This is an oldie. Very strong too. Woohoo! I'm gonna cut off the little end. There we go. I'm gonna chop this real fine, like so. Run a knife through it. Just like this. This is gonna be so good. I am going to do the broccoli a little bit separate toward the end. You'll see that I'm going to do that different because not everybody in my family likes broccoli. I love broccoli. Okay, now this is our stuff that's ready. We have our beef, we have our mushrooms, we have our onions, we have our garlic, and we have our broccoli. I'm going to clean up this mess. We're going to go over to the stove and we're going to start our saute. Okay, my water is boiling. Now to this boiling water, naturally, you gotta have some flavor. So we're gonna put about a tablespoon and a half of butter. And then I'm gonna take a trusty wooden spoon, and I'm gonna take my rice. Now remember, this is 3 cups of water to 1.5 cups of long grain rice. You don't buy the instant stuff, but if you buy the instant stuff, that's good too. This is gonna work here, okay? So you stir that in, alrighty? And we're going to put this cover back on, and we're going to put this on my simmer burner. Once this should be back to the boil in a few seconds. We'll bump this one up. This is my simmer burner on my stove. It's excellent because it's a very low, slow heat, not a very high amount of gas coming out. I forget what it's called, B-somethings. Okay, I'm going to bring this back down as soon as this comes up to a boil. Okay, I'm going to grab my frying pans and then we'll start the beef. We'll be right back. I'm just going to stir my rice around a little bit before we get started. Make sure it's all nice and individual because what we're going to do is we're going to cover it. We're going to leave it on a saute. Now this rice should go about 20 minutes and we're going to be all set to go. And that'll do it. That's how I do the rice. At the end, a lot of times what I like to do is just put Romano cheese, but I'll show you when that time comes around. All right, so we're going to start out with the vegetables that I'm going to use. A little bit of oil. Now I'm using beef. I throw a little bit of butter. It's about a tablespoon or so of butter. I'm going to throw in my onions first. Okay. Break them up. I'm going to throw in my garlic next. Put that in there like that. I'm going to use the same spoon as my rice because it was only water, so there's nothing to be nervous about there. We're going to put the heat up on this just a tish. Okay, and let those get started. And I've got my mushrooms going. Now what I'm going to do, because not everybody in my family is a broccoli eater, I'm going to get my vegetables ready. And I'm going to pull them out. And then I'm going to saute my broccoli separately. And then I'm going to pull that out. And then I'll put my stuff. Well, I'll show you. It's easier than it sounds. It's more complicated when you try to explain stuff. Okay. We really got to wait for these to get soft, so we're going to let these work a little bit. They really have to be tender. Okay. All right, I had a little change of plans. I'm not going to throw the mushrooms in exactly yet because I got a lot of meat here, so I don't like the meat. Oops, thank God I just cleaned my stove. I don't know why I do, I just dirtied it. I don't like too much meat in the pan at once when you're doing a saute like this because it'll actually cause too much, it'll sweat, it'll get moist, and it'll be like steamed. So you really want it fried. So we're going to put that much in there for now. Okay. And I'm going to just use a little bit of this blend. It's red, it's got green, black, and white. It's the 3 blend. I got one that was for barbecue grilling. It's a steak blend. Oh, is that good too? It's got little flakes of garlic in it. It's really good. I like these mills. They're nice. Add a little salt. Now ordinarily when you're doing these for supper and you don't have like a lot of people you're cooking for, you can do it all in one pan. But I'm doing it a little bit more difficult because I have a few more people to feed tonight. So we're going to have 2 pans. Oops. I lost that onion and I just don't like losing onions. They're just too delicious. We're just going to let this brown up. Yeah. I'm going to let that brown up. And then I'm going to take out this meat and then I'm going to throw in this meat and we're going to brown that up. Oops. Man, these onions are just jumping out tonight at me, boy. They don't want to stay in this pan. I'm going to cook these to about a medium rare. I'm not going to cook these real well done because I want them to simmer a little bit in the sauce that I'm going to make at the end. And the reason why I saute everything in the pan is so that everything from the dish gets cooked and all the flavors are in there. So when it comes time to finish up the sauce, you have all your flavors in there. The thing about using a sirloin tip is it's the type of meat that you can cook either rare, medium well done, however you like to eat it. It doesn't have to be cooked for a long time. It's not like stew beef or anything like that. It's a sirloin tip, so it'll stay nice and tender. Stuttering tonight. What's wrong with me? I need a slotty spoon. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to take these out. And try not to take all my onions out because I want the other beef to have some onions in it too. You know, this probably looks a little ridiculous, but if I had a frying pan the size of my stove, it'd be all set. But I don't. Okay, I'm just going to take the rest of this, put this in here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to season these too because the other guys got seasoned, but these didn't. Now this would be a smaller portion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we're going to add the mushrooms. Once this gets browned a little bit, we're going to add the mushrooms in. Okay? I got an itchy nose. It must be that pepper. You see how we're getting all nice little brown bits and all those wonderful little flavorful things? They're going to be delicious. I'm just going to grab a fork real quick, Carl. This one's Okay, now at this point, I'm going to add in my mushrooms because they can go in. Doesn't seem like very much mushrooms. You should probably slice a few more in there. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to add a few extra mushrooms because you know what? I need more mushrooms than that. You know, sometimes when you're cooking, I cook a lot on the fly. I always make sure I have plenty of ingredients because in my house there's one of two things. You get stuff ready and it just isn't enough for what you want to do, or you get everything ready and somebody else shows up. So that happens here a lot too, which is, I enjoy it because I love to feed people, so it doesn't bother me any. And I'm going to take this other meat now because this meat caught up, and I'm going to throw this in here. Once everything's brown, it's okay to fit it in and cook it. And we're going to let this rock and roll for a few minutes because it needs some cooking time. I'm going to get a cover. I'm going to cover it loose. I don't want to steam it. I just want the mushrooms to be a little covered. We're going to let that go like that just a few minutes. I'm going to take this down a little bit too. Just so that those mushrooms soften up a little bit. And we'll be right back. Now in the small amount of time that it's got us to get this going, the rice, believe it or not, is just about there. I mean, it's a little bit hard yet, but it only has a few more minutes to go. I just want to check it, make sure it's, you know, got enough water. If you check your rice and it's still really, really crunchy and there's no water in there, you might want to put a little water in there. So you do have to watch your rice a little bit. Okay, and we're going to check this beef now. Okay. See how I'm starting to get a nice juice? And that's going to be great. Okay. Put this up a little bit more now. I'm going to uncover it, let the mushrooms cook. See, that guy's not cooking very well. Okay. Now to this, I'm going to add some wine. I have some white wine. Usually I would add a red, but I'm going to add some white. That's what I have, and I like it. It's a good wine. And we're going to let this simmer out. And what I like to do is, Carl, can you get this? All these bits, all these crunchy crunchies, you just kind of swirl it around until you get them off the bottom. That's going to flavor up your sauce you're making. If you notice, it's already starting to get a little bit thick because of the flour we put in. So you're not mixing a roux and you're not doing all this fancy stuff. It's just really, depending on how big you make it, is how much we have to saute. Okay. All right, we're going to let this simmer down just a tish, because I want those mushrooms to go just a little longer. All right, I'm going to get some cheese because I want to add it to my rice. And when I get my cheese, I'll be right back. Okay, now as you can see, this meat is still a little bit red, but that's okay because I want it about a medium. Because by the time we thicken this sauce up and we get everything finished, you know, it's going to be done enough where that's all you're going to want it to be. Okay? So right now I want to add a little bit of beef flavor to it. I've got a beef base here that I picked up, okay? Now I might not add all of this because I'm not really happy. I want this just a tish thicker. So I'm not really happy with the thickness of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to not just add in just plain water, because if you add plain water, it just dilutes the flavor. So that's why when you're cooking, a lot of times it's nice to have a beef stock or beef juice or even beef broth. And you know, some people say, well, I can't use the whole can. Well, get an ice cube tray, pour them in the ice cube trays, and just keep ice cubes of the bouillon that you're going to want to use, because you could put it in here. It's not going to slow down the cooking that much. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of flour, about a tablespoon or so. All right, and I'm gonna mix this into the beef juice because I wanna make sure that we dissolve this flour in here too. You don't wanna have any lumpies in there. Okay. This is gonna take a minute. I'm just gonna dissolve this. Okay, now this is going like the dickens. All right, so we're gonna just take this a little tiny bit at a time, and we're just gonna like put it around here, little bit, little bit, little bit, because you don't want to over thicken it either. But you can see that by adding the beef broth, I'm not gonna take away from the flavor of the dish. Okay. Flour has to really come to a boil before it's reached its thickening. Before it thickens completely, it has to come to a complete boil. I'm going to switch this around. For some reason, that side seems hotter than this side. Okay, now this is done. All right? We're just about ready for plate up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my cheese to my rice, okay, because I like to add a little bit of cheese in here. It just makes it cheesy. Okay, we're going to stir this around. It's all nice and ready. See? Isn't that great? This, the cheese will make it almost like a little bit of a sticky rice. It melts into it and it really does make it into like a sticky rice. Okay, and we're gonna come to the side over here with this. So when we're ready to plate, it's there. Now what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna pull this meat up like this, and I'm gonna take my broccoli. A lot of times what I do is I'll take the broccoli and I'll cook it ahead of time. I'll oil. But I don't want to have that in this dish here. I'm just going to put it in the side here, like this, so that all my non-broccoli eaters don't have to eat it. Just swish it around in the juice here. Okay. I'm going to move the hot side over here again. I'm just going to let that cover in there. Now this broccoli, I'm actually going to put the broccoli on the heat and take the meat off the heat, because the meat doesn't really need any more heat. Okay, but I do want the broccoli to cook up just a little bit, because you don't want it raw. It's not going to taste good if it's raw. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover the broccoli end of it a little bit. We're going to let this simmer a few more minutes, and I'll meet you where we're plating up. We'll be right back. Okay, we're ready to plate up. Cool. That's gonna be good. All right, so what I'm gonna do first is I'm going to take the rice and I'm going to just dump it right in the plate, like so. Hopefully everybody can eat all this tonight. Then we're gonna like spread it out like this, kind of like a bed of rice. Okay. Boy, I got a hole in the dam over here. All right. All right, there we go. Excellent. Rice is hot. It's all right. Hot food. We're going to take our beef, and for all the non-broccoli eaters, I'm going to put it on this side. Mushrooms and onions. Oh, and this smells so good. Okay. Then we're going to take the rest of this because I want some beef. And we're going to put this on this side over here. Push that meat over there a little more. Give me some room. I'm trying to. You should never rush a plating like I'm doing right now. Okay. Now if you notice, I'm not pouring all of my juice in there. Okay, because I don't want all of the juice in there. Oh, I'm wrecking my design. What else is new? Okay, here we go. Ready. Well, I don't want to wreck my design, so I'm going to try to put it over here a little bit more. Now, I have to get a spoon with some non-holes, which, sorry, I forgot, Carl. I'm going to take this. If you like it thicker, make it thicker. I don't really want it too thick. Okay. It's a little bit over here. And then we're going to put a little bit over here. Okay. And then we're going to drizzle a little tiny bit. Alrighty. Now I have a special guest tonight. It's my daughter's boyfriend, Andy. And we're going to let him give the beef a shot. Here you go, Andy. You a broccoli eater? It's hot. Oh, he's gonna burn his mouth off. How is it? It's great. It's great. This is our beef saute. Thank you for watching Tina Cooks. Have a good night. Let me just put some of this in here. Okay, ready? Yeah, watch that camera because the lighting switched last week. This is a bowl of hot water, and I put some broccoli. I screwed it up. We can edit it though.